Jai Swaminarayan, everyone. So this is going to be our second session for Satsang No Rang, and we're going to start off with Niyam. First things first, before we start, thank you again, everyone, for joining our second session. And just a kind and gentle reminder from us leaders here and team members, could you please turn on all the videos? We would love to see your lovely faces. I'll give you 30 seconds to do that while I, introduce Mr. Ankur. Ankur is a leader who is very knowledgeable, and he's going to be starting us off with the Niyam slides for learning as part of our Satsang Narang. Hand it over to you, Ankur.
Tishmana, everyone. How are you guys? I hope you guys enjoyed the Nishchay session. It was amazing, isn't it? Raj was awesome, killing it. All right, so I'll start by introducing myself. I know I'm seeing a lot of faces, familiar faces, so I know you guys know me, but for others who don't know me, so I am Ankur Patel, and as a profession, I work as a researcher in the field of immunology and biologics, and then on the side, I like to on the fun side, right? On my free time, I like to sing and make people sleep, right? Just kidding. No, I sing good, right? I sing good. Sometime I make people sleep. Anyways, so in this session, we'll be focusing everything towards Niyam, what Maharaj taught us, what are the set of rules which we have to follow, and we'll sorry, technical problems on the screen, and then we'll go from there, right? So next slide, please. First of all, are you guys all pumped up? Like, just give a thumbs up if you guys are pumped up, like real quick, right? Just to keep it interactive. Hey, listen, if you guys are not interacting, and if it's just me, that's gonna be boring. Or if it's just gonna be you guys and not me, then it's still gonna be boring. So how about we just keep it interactive? We both interact, right? We want your response and to just keep it more flowing. So just put a thumbs up if you enjoyed your first session, and if you guys are pumped up right now. Okay. So first thing, what do you think? What comes to your mind, right? What is the first thing comes to your mind when you say niyams? What does come to your mind when you say niyams? Anyone? Just a brief idea. What comes to your mind when you say niyams, right? What does niyam mean?
Kaushal, go ahead.
Doing Chaturmas names such as Puja, Tapmara, Pradikshina.
Wow, Saras, Kaushal Bhagat, Saras, Budev. Anyone else? I see a lot of familiar faces. Why don't you just answer? At least you guys know what's going on, right? What is niyam, right?
When I think of names, I usually think of rules I'd follow every day, like doing puja every morning, not eating specific foods, and the Panchratman, and then also following rules in the Shiksha Patra and Vajramut.
Wow, very nice, Jill. Anyone else? Last chance.
I think of niyams like rules that Maharaj has given us to be good satsangis.
Wow, Saras. And that's what we're here for, right? To become a good satsangi. Good job, Rohan. Nandit.
When I think of a niyam, I think of following Bhagwan's Maryada and Dharma. Because in Vachramrut, Bhagwan has said, Je Mara niyam mare e mara.
And we have, so whole point is to keep Maharaj happy, right? That's a good thing. So in this session, we're gonna be not just gonna be learning the spiritual aspect of the niyams, right? Sometimes we think, oh, what's going on with this niyam? Why? What is the logic behind this niyam? So we're gonna be, this session is also gonna be spiritual as well as scientific. We're gonna learn the science behind these niyams, right? So let's go with the first slide, Dhruv Bhagat. So the first slide is, so we have, so what does niyam mean, right? In basic sense, niyam means a set of rules which you have to follow, right? A set of rules which Maharaj gave it to us, and he said, okay, here is what you have to follow, and if you follow these, you are being called as a satsangi, right? So there are two types of niyam, and then you have to obey these niyams like with a formal promise that, you know what, I'm gonna do these niyams and I'm never gonna break it. If I break this niyam, I'm gonna do like prashad, like I'm gonna do upvas or do the mara or done with anything like that, right? Okay, so there are two types of niyams, right? First is swadharma. So what does swadharma means? Dharam, which belongs to swa. Swa means yourself, right? Dharam, which belongs to you, is called swadharma. And another one is panchvishay, right? Panchvishay niyams means anything which is related to five senses: eyes, nose, touch, taste, stuff like that, right? So swadharma means, example, let's talk with an example so that you guys understand, right? So swadharma. Swadharma, let's say if your parents are not keeping well, right? So what does the dharma of a kid comes in? So dharma of you would be, as a kid, would be to take care of your parents, right? So that's your swadharma, right? To take care of your environment, right? That's your swadharma. And I'm saying, while I say of your environment, we're going to learn why environment, why we're talking about the environment, right? We're going to learn in the meat, why not to eat meat session, right? So, and then the panch vishay, right? So let's say if you're eating, if you have a good taste buds, right? If you were like a super taster, and then you'd be like, okay, panch vishay, that means taste as well, right? So you'd be like, okay, I want to eat pizza every day, right? And that's not good. You have to be detached with these panch vishays, right? Sometimes you have to be like, okay, I don't want to eat pizza. I'll go with what mommy made, rotli shak. You just don't say, oh, I'm gonna eat Taco Bell, pizza, burger, pasta. No, you also have to go ahead with what your parents makes, right? Which that comes under panch vishay and niyam. So just to avoid going ahead with your taste buds, right? Going in the flow of taste buds, right? So that make sense? Every time it makes sense, just you have an option to raise, just show thumbs up and then high five and then heart and whatnot, right? Just put that on, just click that on, right? All right, you will see. Good job, Rohan. All right, so next slide, please. So we'll learn why. So Maharaj gave us 5 vartamans, right? Panch vartaman means 5 vartamans. Maharaj said, if you follow these 5 vartamans, I'm all yours, you're all mine, right? You are an actual satsangi, right? So first thing is, Maharaj said, do not eat meat. Now we know that, okay, Maharaj said do not eat means we'll do it, but the logic behind this is like, you see, like there's violence going on, right? And if you eat that food, that violent killed animal, right? Your energy, your aura is going to be very negative and then very violent, right? People don't like to be around people who has bad aura or negative aura, or they feel like very violent. Does anyone like to feel like that, like hang out with guys? No, right? People who are violent? No. And the science behind not eating meat is that I recently actually was reading a paper. So I'm a scientist, so I always like to go with the science of what I'm doing, right? So I was reading a paper. It says a leg piece, right? A leg piece takes 72 hours to digest. A chicken leg piece takes 72 hours. Fruits take 1 to 2 hours. Vegetables take 3 to 4 hours to digest in your body, right? Imagine in this regular environment, if you keep a chicken leg piece outside in the regular environment, right, and not in the refrigerator, just on the kitchen countertop, it will get rotten in 24 hours, right? Imagine the kind of environment in your body, right? There's a different type of acid, bases, biles, and enzymes going on in your body. It's 100 times worse than this environment. Your food, your chicken leg piece, is staying in there for 72 hours. Imagine what it's doing to you. It's actually like a slow poison, killing you slowly and gradually, and it's increasing the risk of getting disease, right? So we all promise from this that we want to keep our body really active, and then because of the digestion problem, because 72 hours digestion problem, you'll feel lethargic, lazy, drowsy, sleepy, stuff like that, right? You won't feel energetic, right? So if you want to feel energetic, go for it. Go vegetarian, all right? Do not eat meat. So we'll, and you have to keep in mind, you have to remember all these panchvartamans, because hey, this is a tip. We're going to be asking a question from one of these vartamans, and you guys have to be you have to show that, okay, you guys were listening, and you have to, by answering those questions, right? Okay, promise? Good job. That's one of the niyam. Promise. All right, let's go. Second one. So second one is do not drink alcohol. So when you drink alcohol, Maharaj said, madhu ko pivat nahi. Madhya ko pivat nahi. Maharaj said, do not drink alcohol. Why? Because Maharaj said, because it's gonna create so many different problems in your body. It's gonna take you to a delusional state. It's gonna take you to the seventh level, right? You'll be like, I'm on the seventh heaven when you drink. I can say that, right? You know, I used to drink. To be honest, I used to drink before I came into satsang, right? And I know what I'm saying, right? And it's coming from personal experience. When you drink, you feel like you are on the seventh heaven and you don't want to come down, right? India mein when people drink, एक गटर जाए हो राजन तरीके पर है, पण बीजा दिवस सवाરમાં જો આવે ને તો they're sitting in the gutter, પેલું નાલું ના હોય ગંદુ પાણી જાય, like waste water, એમાં પડેલા હોય next day morning. તો રાજા ગયું ક્યાં ગયું? It's all delusional, right? You are not a raja. And then it also increases risk of getting disease in your liver, right? So what happens is it's said in science that adults who are at high risk of on getting yellow fever, pneumonia, is people who drink and smoke, right? So imagine if you're getting yellow fever, if you're getting pneumonia, it's because of you getting because alcohol attracts pneumococcal bacteria, right? Because of all the sugars going on, pneumococcal bacteria attracts alcohol attracts it into your liver, and that reside in your liver, and because of that you got pneumonia. So pneumococcal bacteria, that's why I call it pneumonia, pneumococcal, all right. So all right. I know. So that's why you do not drink alcohol, because it affects your liver. It increases the risk of getting liver problem, liver diseases, and eventually I've seen people going for an operation and getting the liver transplanted and stuff like that. So if you don't want to be sick, if you don't want to get transplantation of your liver, if you always want to stay healthy, do not drink alcohol. Next, please. All right, third one is do not steal, right? Okay, this is a real interesting one, right? Because we would think, okay, Maharaj said do not steal, but what is the logical reason behind this, right? And okay, so we'll go with the logic. So imagine if you are passing by a garden, right? And then you see a really good, not a garden, a lawn from someone's house, and then you see a really nice rose, right? Bloomed around on the garden, on the lawn, and then you're like, okay, let me just take it and just give it to Maharaj at Mandir, right? Maharaj will be really happy with this. And then you'll be like, and then you see all of a sudden, you pick it up, you prick it up from the plant, and then you see all of a sudden this homeowner comes out and he's like, he's just being a real Karen, right? Okay, right? So let's go with the next slide. So do not commit adultery, right? So adultery means, let's say if you have, so we'll go with an example of husband wife, and then we'll go with our generation, right? So husband wife, right? So if you have a wife at your home, or if you're a girl, if you have a husband at your home, do not engage with any other girl or a guy outside, right? Why? Because you're being loyal to your partner, right? If you are a teenager, right, you be a loyal person to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, right? Because eventually you're hurting someone's feeling, right? And not just one, you're hurting two people's feeling, right? If you have a girlfriend at school and you'd be like, hey, I have a girlfriend somewhere else else there on Tinder or something, you'll be like, that person don't know that you have a girlfriend, and vice versa, and then both of their feelings would be hurted, right? So do not do adultery. Do not do gambling. Gambling also comes under adultery. So do not do that as well. Why? Because that eventually takes you to bankruptcy, and you don't want to go bankrupt. You want to enjoy your life having a Lamborghini or a McLaren hanging around in the roads of Pali Hill or Beverly Hills, right? So do not commit adultery, because what you're doing is just hurting someone else's feelings. And that's, Maharaj don't want that. Maharaj would be like, okay, if my Hari Bhagat would not hurt someone else's feeling. You will always respect someone else. He or she will always respect the person in front of them, right? So no adultery. Next slide, please. So, and then the fifth one is really important, is do not deviate from your dharma, right? So let's say Maharaj said Vatalune in Vatlaune, very important name. So I will say, what is your dharma, right? In this case, we'll take our dharma, right? My dharma, right? As a kid, my dharma is to take care of my parents, right? As a father, see, my son is sleeping right here. He's just 2 months old. My dharma is to take care of this kid, right? Of my baby, of my kid, right? Of my child. So that is my dharma. Your dharma would be like, if you're a small kid, your dharma would be taking care of your parents, taking care of your own thing. That is your dharma. Taking care of the environment. That is your dharma, right? Deviating is what Maharaj said, do not deviate from your dharma, right? Example, if my dharma is taking care of this small kid, Dhyan, right? If my dharma is taking care of Dhyan, if I deviate, I would be like, okay, I don't care, you help with yourself. I'm gonna go become a sadhu. I'm deviating from my dharma, and Maharaj does not want that, right? Maharaj does not want that. If there's not just growers, there are santos, right? Their dharma is to teach what Maharaj said. Their dharma is to just do all the tyag and just to be away from the Maya, away from the materialistic world, right? If they deviate, they will be doing what? What they would be doing? They will be going in politics. They will be doing all different sorts of money laundering and stuff from Hari Bhagats, right? That's their deviating. Maharaj says, do not deviate from your dharma. Do not deviate. Even if you do not convert anyone into your dharma, you do not get converted into their dharma, right? You just be what you are and just follow what Maharaj says, okay? So very important and very powerful. If you do this, everyone's going to respect you. You'll be here. If you keep all these Panchvartamans in your pocket and you follow them every day, like the military people, when they follow strict rules, how do you take military people? You see them up here, right? You see them with upper eyes. That's, if you keep these Panchvartamans in your life, you'll be disciplined in your life, right? You have so much good discipline in your life, and people will see you, right? If you stand in a group of 10 people, they will see you up there. They will see you up with their upper eyes, right? And that's what you want, right? That's what you want. So there we go. So 5 Arthamans. So it's poll time, right? We'll do a poll, right? Public poll. And the question is, what Vartaman is Madhyukupivat? Go ahead. There's a poll. And what Vartaman is Madhyukupivat? Real quick. 26 more second. Oh, 3 more second. 2 more seconds. 1 more second. Come on, real quick. We have to be active, guys. Come on. What are you guys doing? It's that simple. All right. All right. We're with the decision. Good job. 74% kids answered it right. No drinking. Clap, 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 clap. Yay. Good job. Okay. So, and I'm happy that you guys are listening and you guys are very interactive, right? So that's good job. All right, let's go to the next session.
All right. So niyams that define you as a satsangi, right? So there's things that define someone as a satsangi. So I'm just going to use the example that Ankurba used earlier, right? When you're in the army, right, you're supposed to wear your cap, you're supposed to have your badge, you're supposed to have your army uniform. That's what defines you, right? Same way, we have niyams that define you as a satsangi. So the first things first is we should all be wearing a kanti. As we all know that the kanti is given to us by whoever put it on us, right? It can be someone who's more elder than us or someone in the religion. They would normally put a kanti on you. And this is basically going to be protecting you from evils, negativity, and it's going to mainly form a connection with you and Maharaj. And then doing tilak chandlo, right? So what is tilak? So you guys can see my forehead. I'm just going to come in real close, right? So the tilak is the U-shaped orange kind of sandalwood kind of thing that you see on my forehead, and that represents Maharaj's feet. And the chandlo is Lakshmi ji. It represents Lakshmi ji. So that's the round red dot. So that's the whole thing is known as a tilak chandlo. And what is the reason for the tilak chandlo? It's to be recognized as, hey man, this person walking on the street is of Swaminarayan Bhagwan. And because we know that Swaminarayan Bhagwan's bhakts are following niyams, etc., you're going to be you're being given, or you're going to be given respect that, hey, this is Swaminarayan Bhagwan's, right? At the same time, women have to also do, or females in this case, have to do a kind of representation. And in this case, just to add to that, when I went to school, right, I faced the same situation where when I started doing the Tilak Chandlo, and everyone would just look at me and make fun of me and stuff, right? But after a few months, everyone will just accept you for it. They'll be just like, okay, this person comes in with this, you just become part of the. It's just going to be a normal thing. It's just that when you start something new, there's always going to be people saying that, oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? But after a few months, it's just going to be engraved in people. Like, he does this, like and then they respect you. They're like, wow, he went through all that and now he's here, that's what I felt. Right.
Does that answer, Rohan? Good job. Just thumbs.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So then another thing that, just to continue as our niyams that should be defined, right? To please Maharaj again. So we should perform puja every morning, right? When we wake up, we have our niyams, right? In terms of like, hey, waking up, going to shower, brush your teeth, do your normal stuff. But what then defines a satsangi is he's going to sit down and do a puja of Maharaj. He's building that connection. The first thing you want to do is do Maharaj's puja. And then the last thing is keeping a shikha. Keeping a shikha is, for example, at the back of your head, you would have a small strand of hair, which will be demonstrated by Ankur Bhai. If you could just show it real quick.
It's like this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's tough with this background, but this is what it is, like this. You guys see it? Okay. Thumbs up. If you guys see it, thumbs up.
Cool. So that's not just part of Swaminarayan religion. This is part of the Hindu Sanatan Dharma. It represents you as a Hindu. So we'll go to the next slide. So daily niyams. So what are our daily niyams that we should follow every day, right? So we'll just talk about a few of them from what Maharaj has told us from the Shiksha Patri and how they relate to what we should be doing every day. So one of the first ones is you should always wake up before sunrise and offer prayers to Bhagwan. And then go have your shower, do your daily niyams, right? And then once you've showered, you sit down, you do your puja. Once you've done the puja, you go to Maharaj or the Mandir Maharaj, the one that's at your house. You do Danvat to Maharaj. You say, hey, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for giving me a new day to live my life, to pray to you so that I can eventually go to Akshardham. And then what you do is if you're there, your parents are going to be there. So you go to your parents, you touch their feet and say, hey, thank you, show respect. And then you have your breakfast and continue on with your normal life, right? So these small things, we don't really dwell into it, but these are the things that define our daily niyams. So Chaturmas, right? As Kaushal mentioned at the start of the presentation, he said that Chaturmasna niyams, right? So what is Chaturmas, right? Someone can just ask. So Chaturmas is the monsoon season, and it's basically in India, in the Asian continent. It comes from June, July, August, and September. And what it basically means is you take an additional niyam from what your normal niyams are, and you kind of do them every day. And the reason to do this is so that you get more bhajan and bhakti. What Maharaj said is you get 2 times the punya of doing any niyam you take extra during Chaturmas. So let's look at a few of these niyams, right? What can they be? So there's 8 niyams that are written in the book or in Shikshapatri, right? So this one, the first one is listening to religious scriptures. In this day and age of digital, internet, everything, right? This is very, very accessible to us, right? Like a long time ago, this was not, but now we can just open up YouTube and put some katha up off the right of whoever we like to listen to and whoever is told to us by in our LNDYM, right? So you can just listen to their katha and then reading religious scriptures, right? I'm sure there's all of us are from like somewhat of a Hindu family and we have some kind of scripture at home. So you can take a niyam, hey, I'm going to try finish reading, say maybe a Vachramrut or maybe Satsangi Jivan in this 4 months, right? And for those of us who haven't like really dwelled or are much more newer in the religion, you could be like, hey, I'm gonna, this is my first Chaturmas. I'm gonna try and read all the whole Shikshapatri in this 4 months, right? You just taking these niyams according to what you think you'll be able to finish. And then reciting Bhagwan's quality kirtans, right? You can recite Bhagwan's kirtans. Like that's you can take a niyam like, hey, from today at the start of Chaturmas till the end of Chaturmas, I'm gonna recite 2 kirtans every day. And then another thing is you can do Mahapuja of Bhagwan. Mahapuja is basically you do Bhagwan's puja and santos and everyone else on the side. And then chanting his mantra. So what does chanting his mantra mean is you sit at a quiet place, easy place, and you just chant his mantra, saying Swaminarayan, 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 Swaminarayan. That would be chanting his mantra. And what you could do is maybe you could have a counter over yourself saying that in this 4 months, I will chant the name Swaminarayan Bhagwan or Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan 50,000 times. Whatever you think you'll be able to achieve, right? In those 4 months. Reciting his hymns or performing pradakshina at the mandir. When I was growing up in Kenya, what I saw was that people would take a niyam, hey, I'm going to do 10 more pradakshinas every day than what I regularly do, right? So for all those 4 months, every day you do 10 more pradakshinas. And then the last one is performing danvat to Bhagwan. So you could be like from your daily danvats that you perform. For example, if I've been doing 5 danvats every day, you could say that, hey, I'll do 5 more every day for the Chaturmas, right? So what is the point of this? It's you get 2 times the punya when you do everything extra here. And the other thing, the other side, flip side is make sure we take what we can do. So tomorrow, if I want to take a niyam of doing, hey, danvat to Bhagwan, and I say, oh, I'm going to do 200 every day, like that's crazy, right? I'm not going to do that because it's like I'm just going to get tired after doing like 100 danvats. So you take what you can. And the why we say take what you can is because if you don't do it, on the flip side of it, it's that, or 2 times punya, so then 2 times pop, right? So just make sure you're balancing your life and you take what you can. So why do we take niyams, right? Like what is the reason to take such niyams, and how can we like explain that to this generation, right? So the need to take a niyam is to clean our body and soul. And what do I mean by clean our body and soul? I'll give you an example. Is that when I started working first time, I was always asked by my coworkers, hey, let's go have lunch. Let's go have lunch. But then all that food would be apavitra and it would be with onion and garlic and everything else. So I would just be like, I can't eat that. That's not part of my niyams, right? So then they would always be like, okay, fine. And then one day, one of my coworkers comes to me, is like, okay, you know what? Tomorrow I'm not going to go have lunch with everyone. I want to have lunch with you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Can you bring me food? I want to try what you eat every day, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So that day I made more khichdi for 2 people. I took that khichdi with me and I took it to work and we both had khichdi together, right? Vagareli khichdi, right? So if you guys like vagareli khichdi, just thumbs up. So we all vagareli khichdi together. And what he said to me is this is very inspiring as to like just understanding why these niyams are there for us, right? We started working after we just had normal food. We came back, we started working, and it was very good as to what he said is at 4 o'clock, when we have a small recess, we take like a small, biscuit or something. He tells me that today I felt so much at ease. My stomach my whole balance. I felt very much healthy and light, and I'm able to perform my duties and tasks at work. Awesome, you know. And then I just told him, like, maybe it's because of the food you eat. You know, you've been having the meats and the fishes and everything. If you try the flip side of it, you'll see what the benefits are. And it was just like one of these inspiring things that made me understand why we do this, right? And then the second reason why we do this is we want to all attain moksha, right? We are the reason for our janam is to attain moksha. So taking these niyams is going to make us like control our emotions, feelings, and attractions with Maya. So it'll help us control that. Okay, so how do we maintain niyams? First things first is read the Shikshapatri, right? It has the niyams. If you constantly read something, it'll constantly pour into you and you'll get it, right? It's like reading your textbooks at school, right? Doing math. If I'm going to constantly do that algebraic equation, one day I'm bound to get it. I'm going to know how to do it and I'm going to start doing it. So, and then the second thing is if you practice something, practice makes perfect, right? So that's self-explanatory. And if you ever thought about breaking a niyam in your life, right, you should read the 206th shlok of Shikshapatri. By following the Shikshapatri, my male and female disciples shall definitely attain dharma, earth, kam, and moksha, the four desired objects. So Maharaj basically said that you follow my niyams and I will give you what you want and even more, right? Dharma, earth, kam, and moksha. This is so Ankur Bhai will now teach Ekadashi.
I'm back again. So how was the niyams about how did you feel about the niyams for Chaturmas? Good? Thumbs up. It's always good to like put what do you feel, how do you feel on chat box, or if you're watching on YouTube, put it on the live chat so that we know where we have to improve ourselves, right? We want to learn as well. What do you want? We won't know until you tell us. So if you feel boring, let us know and we'll go ahead, we'll try to make it more interactive, okay? And then at the end, if we have time, I'm not promising, don't quote. If we have time, we'll keep some kind of joke session or something. We always keep it at the New Jersey temple, right? We'll keep if we have time, we'll keep a joke session, okay? So now we're focusing about Ekadashi, right? Ekadashi means a day you go away with 10 indriyas, and the 11th is the month. Ekadashi means 11, right? Ekadashi, dashi means 10, ek is 1. So 11 things. So what do you go with away from these 11 things? It's 10 indriyas and 1 month. So and 1 month. So what are these 10 indriyas and what is man? We'll see in the next slide, right? So Mars said in Vachanam, the real good thing. I also say that on the day of Ekadashi, a person should not merely do upvas, right? But he should also abandon the food of the 11 indriyas. The 11, remember the 10 indriyas in the month, this 11 indriyas? Only then can Ekadashi Vrat be considered true. Without that, it should be known as mere upvas, right? So let's see what is this. 10 indriyas. So we won't go in deep. 10 indriyas, 5 gyan indriyas from karma indriyas. You can see gyan indriyas like ears, skin, eyes, toes, nose, and the karma indriyas is what you perform with these 5 gyan indriyas, right? Listening, hearing, using hand, feet, and stuff like that. And then the 11th is your mind, man. Okay, so you go away with these 11 things on a geras, besides also not eating anaj. Okay, next slide, please. So okay, so what is the significance of Ekadashi, right? Maharaj said here, we all already addressed Vachanamrita and shloks. So why do we need to understand? This is the science we need to understand. Ekadashi, right? Dr. Yoshinori, he's a 2016 Nobel Prize winner in medicine. And what he realized is that if you do if you fast without food and water every 15 days, then your body will be capable enough of removing bad bacteria and cancer cells, right? Earlier, when he wanted to do research on this, no one was interested. No investigator was interested in this. But then when he got this science out of autophagy in 2016, he got a Nobel Prize, right? and now we know why Maharaj told us like hundreds and thousands of years back that do Agyaras, do not eat food, do not, do not drink water on day of Agyaras. I'm not telling you don't drink water or juices. You should. You guys are kids, you guys are growing. But the science is, if you do a Agyaras, if you do fasting every 15 days, which is a Agyaras, actually, you're going to be killing out your bad bacteria and cancer cell. And another science is that, on the 11th day, the moon is in a way on this on the in the universe that it affects the water, right? It affects the moon and the water, right? So your body is 75% water, right? So imagine how much effect it will give you if you consider doing a Agyaras on that day, right? Because 75% water, you have to consider doing a Agyaras. Okay, next slide, please. So legends of Ekadashi, right? We won't go in too much depth in this. So there's a story which Satan Swami wrote in Satsang Jivan, and Maharaj talked about this, is that there was a Rakshas which was called as Murdana, and then Maharaj wanted to kill him, but Maharaj was like, oh, this is a small Dana. I'm not gonna be wasting my time killing this Dana. So so there's this lady came out from his body, which was from his 11 indriyas. Remember, Panch Karm indriyas, 5 Gyan indriyas, ears, nose, and then the mind. There's this lady took a form from these 11 indriyas, and then she killed the Danav called Mool Danav, right? And that's why. And then she asked Maharaj, okay, can you give me a Vardhan because I killed the Danav? And she was like, okay, if I want a Vardhan that everyone just should be away from 11 indriyas on the day of Agyaras, and they should not eat food, anaj. So this is just a small story. We won't go in depth in this one because we're running out of time, right? All right, next, please. So Zoom poll time, right? Drew is gonna just tell us the question about this Zoom poll, and then we'll see how much did we learn from the Chaturmas and Agyaras slides, right? So the question is, what are the 5 Gyanindriyas? Come on, real quick. Good job. I'm seeing a real good response right now. Wow, amazing. Good job, guys. Oh, wow. Good job. Good job. Good job. I'm seeing amazing response. Come on, hurry up. 94%. Guys, y'all killing it. Good job. Good job. Big claps. Okay. So, what is the next slide? Good job, guys. I'm really interested. I like it that you guys are really interested in these topics and going well. Good. Go ahead, Drew.
Thank you, Ankur Bhai, for that great explanation of Ekadashi. So we will talk about the 4 types of kusang now, right? The people or the kusangis that we want to stay away from. So just to give you a quick intro into kusang, is the opposite of satsang. Something that's going to lead you away from satsang is known as kusang. And what we mean by the 4 types of kusang is the people or the kind of persons that were described here are going to be the type of characteristics that we'll see in a person that we want to avoid. So the first one is kurapanti, which will cause an alternation from your vartamans and make some person impure, right? So basically, from the panch vartamans, if you have a person who is going to be, kind of leading you away with his vani or the way he's with his vartan, however he's doing it, and if you see him leading you away, that's a type of a kusang, and that's a kusangi. So you want to stay away from those people. The second one is a shaktipanti, right? A shaktipanti is a type of person that will force you to consume alcohol and meat and deflect from your own swadharma, right? So this one has an extra added saying that alcohol and meat, persons who are going to force you to eat alcohol and meat, and also move you away from your swadharma. As Ankur Bhai explained earlier, right? If something is moving you away from your own swadharma, you want to stay aware of that and not associate very lightly, right? Because we're in a practical world. We have to associate with people, but do it in a way that it's not going to affect your own swadharma. And the third one is Suksha Vedanti. This is a person who will make you fall away from bhakti and upasana. Now, these are new words. For those of you who were here in the summer 2020 Shibir, we talked about upasana, right? basically someone who's going to say that, hey, Maharaj, your Maharaj is not Bhagwan, or this bhakti you're doing is it's not helping you in any way, or your dham is false. So a person who says that is known as a Shuksha Vedanti, and you want to stay away from those. Really stay away from those. Those people really will affect you as you grow older. You'll get all these thoughts, and you'll just be like, oh, what are you guys talking about, right? But this is a type of kusang. And then the fourth one is Nastik. So what is the Nastik type of kusang is the ones who believe that there is no Bhagwan, like Krishna Bhagwan, Samaran Bhagwan, no one exists. And what they say is everything will happen through karma. If you do good karma, karma will happen. Bad karma, that's how you'll happen. It's the circle of life is the only thing that's there. Nothing else, no Maharaj, nothing to help us. So these are the four types of kusangs that you want to stay away from. And as you grow older, just to leave you with a thought at this slide is that make sure that if any of you want to like get these slides, or you want to know the four types of kusangs again, just reach out to the team, and we're happy to give you these slides so you can look over them again and again, so that you, for your understanding, know that what are the four types of kusangs and what we should not be associated with as we tread our journey into adulthood. So Zoom poll time. Again, if you were listening to the four types of kusang, this is going to be an easy one. If not, let's see how you guys did. Here's the poll. So what's the worst type of kusang? I'll give you another 15 seconds. Like there's Kudapanthi, Shaktipanthi, Nastik, or demon. And I know in the slides I didn't mention what's the worst type of kusang, because I wanted you to critically think like, hey, what is the worst one of them all over here, right? So this is more of like, let's see if you guys are listening, if you guys understand it properly. I'm going to end the poll here, and then I'm going to answer it. So share the results. And the worst type is correct. Gnostic, right? 53% of you voted. And that's the right answer, is Gnostic, because as I mentioned earlier, they deny the existence of Maharaj. Now that is basically hurting everyone, right? Like that's just wrong. Like there is a Maharaj, there's so much evidence around him. And then if you deny that, that's like the worst kind of kusang, and that'll make your satsangi life fall drastically. So I'll have the session ending slides to Ankur Boy again. You can take over.
Sure. So good job, guys. You guys were actually listening. So again, if you guys have any question, put them down on the chat, and then Rohan Bhagat, Dhruv Bhagat, or whoever is doing the technical work, Sagar Bhagat, they would come up and they would just let us know what are the questions, right? Because it's not a good idea to just open up the chat, because it's COVID time, and let's talk about COVID. Sorry. Sometimes I just talk no sense. Okay, COVID, right? So you see, we talk so many niyams about, right? About doing this, not doing that, and following Shiksha Patri, not eating meat, not drinking, and stuff like that. So we can, if we see everything, would make sense when we see this slide, and when we listen very, very carefully, that why Maharaj said to do this and not that, right? So Maharaj always was in a mindset of giving out to the community, right? He never said anything. He never did anything for himself. He was so dayaru, he was so compassionate, that he always wanted to give it to his Hari Bhagats, to the community, right? And that's why he gave all these dharma niyams, right? So, he said, do not eat meat, right? Do you guys know why the COVID thing started? COVID started because okay, I'm just gonna ask the question, and I'm gonna answer it myself, okay? Because it's gonna take a lot of questions. It's gonna make a lot of people answer, and then it's gonna go too much time. We're gonna waste too much time. The E. coli outbreak at Chipotle, right? And the Chipotle chicken, people got sick. Why? Because they were eating meat. If they were not eating meat, this wouldn't have come in existence, right? That's why Maharaj said, do not eat meat, right? Maharaj said, Pani garin pivu, right? Maharaj always said, right? Pani garin pivu. I have a story in my mind. I remember when I was back in India. And I'm from Mumbai, but you hear all these news, right? In news channels, and there was an epidemic in the Surat area of Gujarat, and the government of Gujarat said, everyone in Surat kept everyone on high alert because there was some kind of bacteria or virus was found in the water in Surat, right? And then the government said everyone has to double purify their water, warm it up, use a cotton cloth to filter your water, and then if you don't have a water purifier, Maharaj told us, Maharaj gave us this ideology like hundreds and thousands of years back, saying hundreds of years back. He was like, Mara Hari Bhakto should always drink water after filtering with a garnu, right? A cotton cloth, right? So we're saying that we're implementing all these names. If everyone would have been implementing all these names, COVID or any epidemic or any pandemic wouldn't have happened. But people were not so smart enough to just understand and follow what Marat said. We're here. We're dealing with this COVID-19 episode, right? We're dealing with Corona, right? It's Corona time. So good points to take in your mind is follow all the niyams, right? And then just you're gonna give away. This is how you're gonna take care of your environment, right? You remember I said in the first slide, you're gonna take care of your environment. This is your swadharma. This is how you take care of your environment. This, global warming, 75% of global warming is because of meat eating industry. So be a good satsangi. Quit if you are eating at all. I know most of you guys are not eating meat. You don't eat meat, but if you eat at all, just quit eating it, right? Even eggs are also considered non-veg. They have life, they feel pain. Okay, so and I would recommend everyone to donate to the SVG charity. Why? Because we're SVG charity, LNDYM, SSAU Assam, it is actually doing so much thing. I think we have a slide where we showcased we did so much thing all over the world, right? Internationally, we did food drives, we distributed masks, we distributed zillions of stuff. We distributed so much food. I remember New Jersey kids actually did a great job. They during the start of the pandemic, they cleaned they cleaned the cars people of Haribhagats coming to Mandir, and they gathered their money and they just did a food drive, and then they donated all the food, canned food, to a charity, right? On this was under SVG charity event, right? So this is what SVG is doing. SVG charity is donating with wholeheartedly, helping a lot of people, helping a lot of homeless, needy people, and just we're fighting COVID-19 or Corona with all our equipments, right? Loaded equipments. So I would recommend if you guys go ahead and tell your parents, this is what SVG charity is doing. Take a look on the website, see if you want to donate anything, even $1, right? That will make a big difference, right? You're contributing towards a good cause, right? Even if you donate $1, you're contributing towards a good cause, right? So let's just do this. Tell our parents just to take a look at the SVG charity website, LNDYM website, and then ask them to help, right? Help the community, right? This is how you're going to help. You're not going to go by yourself and just donate, right? Because it's just going to be very little money. But if we all come together with dollar, imagine 100 people coming in with the dollar, we have $100, and then we can make a difference, right? We that's how we've been making a difference. So do charity, do all these good jobs, do keep niyams in your pocket, and then follow what Mara said, and we'll see next year, right? You'll see a difference next year, and you'll be like, oh, I'm a big Hari Bhagat. People are seeing me up there. People are seeing with me uprise, right? And that's what we want, right? Eventually, that's what we want, right? Respect. We want respect. We give respect. Okay. So I'll hands up. I'll hand the mic to Dhruv Bhagat and Rohan Bhagat, and then they will lead us for the next session. Okay. Jai Narayan.
Thank you, Ankur. Oh, sorry, guys, I was muted. Thank you, Ankur Bhagat, for that great explanation for COVID and just, telling us what we're doing and how SVG charity is really helping the community out. Our next session or our next business would be, we're going to have, because, this is heavy, right? This is all heavy material and we haven't done anything fun yet. So let's do some activities. I will hand it over to Chandni, and she will now take over some of the activities.
Before we go somewhere, can I just add on something on the COVID? Sorry, is it possible? 1 minute.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chandni Dhruv. And sorry, guys. So I remember I just got this on my head. I would recommend everyone to take COVID seriously, right? I see that there are states which are not even wearing masks. I actually went to North Carolina the other day, like 2 or 3 weeks back. I went to a store of my and then the store owner says, people are not taking COVID seriously. They are not even wearing masks, right? And the store owner requests them to wear a mask, and the employees are like, oh, if you force us, we're gonna quit this job. So it's that bad of a situation. So I would recommend all of you guys, we're all young, we don't want to get COVID-19, we don't want to die, we want to do seva for the satsang, right? So always keep distance with people until you get a vaccine shot, and wear a mask. Stay away from strangers. If you know if you don't know if they have COVID or not, stay away from them, and always wear a mask in public. Okay, good luck. Jai Somnarayan.
Jason, thank you. Chandni, the floor is yours.
Okay, Jay Swaminarayan, everyone. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation that was just given and enjoyed everything that Dhruv and Ankur presented for you guys. Now we're going to play an online game of Pictionary. So we're going to put everybody into individual breakout rooms, and you're going to be in there with a few other people as well as a moderator. And that moderator is going to share a link with you so that you can participate in the game. So once you are on the game, there will be a word that is given to you, and you're going to draw a picture of that word, and everybody else in the room will guess the picture that you're drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. So whenever you get a chance, please join them. Okay, thank you everyone for participating in the draw source game that we had. I hope everybody had fun, and I hope everybody was able to guess some sort of word or was able to draw something that they enjoy drawing. But I'm gonna hand it over to Dhruv to continue the Shibir. Dhruv?
Hey guys, how was that? Did you guys have fun? I was going around some of the rooms and I was just like, oh wow, you guys are good at this, and some of you are really, really terrible at it. So it's both extremes. So that was fun. So now we're gonna continue with the third one, the third part of Satsang Norang, which is Paksh. And I'm gonna hand it over to Vraj to start us off with Paksh.
Thank you, Dhruv. So don't worry, this is the last session, and this isn't as long as the other two. It's not that long, so you'll be on your way in a short while. So Paksh, it's the third and final element of Satsang Norang. So before we actually start, let's do an intro question. Anyone can speak up and contribute. Who are some people you are loyal to, and why are you loyal to those people? Shriji?
I'm loyal to my parents because they have raised me and they have also given me shelter. They have always been there for me, like during difficult times, and it's my duty to be for them, and that's where my loyalty lies.
That's a really good answer. Good job. Nandit?
I'm loyal to my family, friends, and especially Bhagwan, because Bhagwan has given me this beautiful life to enjoy and also walk in his footsteps to go towards Dharma and Akshardham.
That's a really good response. Yes, that is our goal in life. Priyal?
I'm loyal to my friends because we have each other's backs. They are family away from home. That's where my loyalty is.
Good response. Yes. Our friends are a form of family to us, and that's how we should treat them. Rohan?
I'm loyal to my family because they do so much for me, like my brother, my parents, grandparents. And I'm loyal to my friends because they're always have my back for everything. And I'm loyal to Song #1 because he does everything for us and he's been there for us.
Good response. Let's take one more, okay? Sachi?
I'm loyal to my ba and dada because they love me and I love them and they treat me with respect.
That's wow. That's really touching. That was a unique answer. Good job, everyone who responded. So when you are loyal to those people, you are taking their bucks. You are siding with them, either whether it's through affection or through your dharma. And so when we take bucks of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, we show loyalty towards Maharaj and his sampradaya, and we give constant and firm support to him. And Bhagwan has stated in the Garira Matya 60, therefore, one should be absolutely loyal to a bhakta of Bhagwan. Just as one is loyal to one's relatives and one's mother and father, basically most of your responses concluded like your parents, your friends, your dada, dadi, so forth. So that was on the right track. Good job. And Bhagwan has basically said that we should be loyal to a bhakta of Bhagwan. So all of our fellow satsangis, just as we are to our family and friends as well. And if ever some sort of difficulty happens to arise with a bhakta of Bhagwan, only one who does not develop a grudge but settles the difference and reunites with the bhakta can be called a true bhakta. And Bhagwan uses the reference like a line draw in water. So if we have an argument with our family, the grudge might hold for just a little while, but it's like drawing a line in the water. It disappears almost instantly. Because why? They're our family. We love them so much. Similarly, our satsangis and our fellow haribhaktos, we should have that same mentality and that same positive influence. We should have the mentality that, okay, we might get into disagreements, we might not agree on everything, but in the end, we both love Swaminarayan Bhagwan and we share that commonality. So we should come together and be friends and be loyal to each other, because that's what makes sense. And also that also makes Bhagwan happy. And in this Vajramrut, one important thing to take away is that Bhagwan says to be loyal to his bhakta. Now, imagine when he said that, he didn't think about being loyal to himself, but he thought about his bhaktos. That's like this. That's an example of the selfless care that Maharaj cares about us and cares about how we interact with each other, that we're friends with each other, and that we're all close together in satsang. And why should we take the baksh of Swaminarayan Bhagwan? So you might think, why do we take the baksh of Swaminarayan Bhagwan? We learned about Nishchay Niyam, but let's go over this now. We have taken 8.4 million lives to get this Manushya Janam. Now, I think you remember from the first, we talked about Manushya, which means human. So we've been through 8.4 million lifetimes to get to this Janam that we have right now. So it's our risk. And not only did we get a Manushya Janam, we also got a Janam in Satsang. That's also very important. We didn't just get a random human life. Now, think about how much Bhagwan has taken care of us, that he didn't just set us off into a random person. He makes sure that we are fed, that we are happy, and that we get a good education here too. Like in America, we are so fortunate to be able to have a good education, quality education, and we should not take that for granted. So it's our responsibility towards us to follow the satsang and use the resources provided by Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan and develop your baksh for Swaminarayan Bhagwan and to take his side in the end. And in Gadara Pratham 78, Nana Shivanand Swami asks, how can someone with stable satsang be recognized, with a stable foundation in satsang be recognized? And Bhagwan explains, a person who is absolutely loyal to satsang cannot at all tolerate someone speaking unkindly of satsang. For example, even though one may have had a disagreement with a member of one's family, one would be able to tolerate anyone speaking unkindly to them. So just as the example I gave before, just how we are loyal to our friends and family, that is the exact loyalty we should resemble in satsang too. Because this is like our family. We are all here together and we all have the same goal of going to Akshardham. Therefore, we should stick together like Bhagwan has told us to. Therefore, just as one is loyal to one's relative, if a person is similarly loyal to satsang, then his foundation in satsang is stable. So to develop a stable foundation in satsang and to make sure that you are doing good in satsang, you should be loyal to satsang and all of Bhagwan's sampradaya. And one lila about this is Pivdav na Prabhu Shankar. So in a gam named Pivdav, nu namatu Prabhu Shankar. And Maharaj wrote him a letter saying, as soon as you get this letter, come to Varta, okay? And mind you, coincidentally, Prabhu Shankar got this letter right when he was sitting down to get married. Like right when he was about to get married, he was handed the letter. And in that moment, he read the letter and he just thought to himself, what should I, like he thought, like, what should I do now? Now, if you were in that moment, you'd be like, okay, I can just go right after I get married. But Prabhu Shankar took off all of his ornaments and he gave them to his dad. And his dad was like, where are you going? You're about to get married. You can just go to Swaran and Bhagwan after. But he said, no, my Bhagwan comes first. I can get married another time, but I can't take the bucks of Swaran and Bhagwan again. So after I'm disloyal to him once, he won't forgive me for that. So I have to take his bucks right now. And with that mentality, Prabhu Shankar went straight to Maharaj, even though his dad tried to convince him not to. And that is just one of many examples in our satsang how a bhakta of Bhagwan has had bucks for Swaminarayan and Bhagwan. Now, that's kind of extraordinary that he gave up everything just to go see Bhagwan. He didn't even know if Bhagwan needed anything or not. But maybe Bhagwan didn't even need anything. He just called him. To think like how good that is kind of incredible. And in Garra Madhya 60, Bhagwan talks about the benefits of having loyalty towards the bhakta of Bhagwan. So Sriji Maharaj says in Garra Madhya 60, the Shastras state that if a bhakta of Bhagwan is being killed or harassed by someone, then he who stands in defense of that bhakta of Bhagwan and in doing so dies or becomes wounded himself is totally free from the five great sins. So we talked about the 5 great sins in Niyam. They were the Panchvartmans. So if you see your fellow Satsangi or fellow Bhakta of Bhagwan getting harassed or even killed, which is unlikely, but it could happen by someone, and if you stand in defense of that person, like if, for example, if someone is bullying your fellow Satsangi, then if you stand in defense from that person, then you are freed from the 5 great sins. So any 5 of those 5 great sins that you've committed, you're freed from those. And that is not an easy feat, because to free yourself from the pap of those sins is extremely hard. And to think that just by one simple action can do that shows the importance of bucks and how we should use it throughout our life and through our satsang family. Such is the glory of defending a bhakta of Bhagwan. That is the importance of having the defense of a bhakta of Bhagwan. So there are also repercussions for not having loyalty towards a bhakta of Bhagwan. Like if you remember from the Chaturmas, there's pros and cons to that. So repercussions of not having loyalty they are included in the Garra Madhya 60. However, if one is hurt by the words of Bhagwan, of the bhaktas of Bhagwan, as if he has been shot in the heart by some arrows, and if a grudge develops from that hatred to such an extent that it is not resolved as long as one lives, then such a person is like an outcast. So if you and your fellow satsangi get into an argument and you hold a grudge from that, and like if you hold a grudge, there's a sense of hatred and negative energy that builds up inside of you. And if that is not resolved as long as one lives, so before you die, that isn't resolved, that person is like an outcast. Like he is aside from the rest of our, he's removed basically from the family of satsang, because Bhagwan doesn't want that negative energy in satsang. So thumbs up if you think that we should definitely, if we get into an argument, we should try to resolve things in satsang. Show like a sign of because it's really important that we stick up for each other. And also, does anyone have an example of how they've stuck up for a bhakta of Bhagwan? Like, does anyone want to share any experiences that they've had? If not, that's totally fine. But it's important to engage. Okay, that's fine. I will actually share a personal experience. When I attended, I think it was my second Shibir, when we were sitting on the bus, this is a very stupid experience, but it shows like the importance of like taking your friend's side. and how like you shouldn't let the little things affect you. When we were going, I think it was on a nature walk, someone was making fun of my friend, and he was wearing a tilak chando, and that person wasn't, and they were older. And in that instance, I was like, it's not a big deal. It is the tilak chando. We're supposed to do it. Like, it's something that we should be doing it, and it's a positive thing. And in that moment, not only did I defend my friend, but that person also kind of realized that, okay, I kind of see your perspective. Because if you show kindness and you say things in a nice way, it might change someone's mind, because you don't know what that other person is going through. So just by practicing kindness, you can really help in that situation. And so that person also um had that person also started doing tilak chando, and I think that's kind of incredible to think that like they personally, without even like consideration, they kind of changed their mind in that instant. And Bhagwan even continues. He says, even if such a person possesses qualities such as dharma and tyag and performs tap, it is all worthless. So if a person does tap, he has dharma, he takes care of his family, he has and tyag, and he has all of these divine qualities of a good Hari Bhagat. If he doesn't have baksh in Swaminarayan Bhagwan, and he doesn't take the side of his bhaktos, then it is all worthless. Bhagwan says in Gadara Madhya 60. So it is important that we as satsangis take the side and take the baksh of our fellow Hari Bhaktos. And in fact, even if he performs a million other activities, his jiv will not attain kalyan. So Bhagwan really stresses the importance of baksh here. So let's do a Zoom poll. 1 second. So this is kind of from the beginning, if anyone remembers. True or false? It takes 8.4 million lives to get Manusya Janam. We went over this a couple slides back. If anyone remembers. Good job. 87%. Nice. Good job. 80. Good job. We're going higher. Okay, I'll give you like 5 more seconds. Okay. Results. It's true. We have been here. Think about this. We've been here 8.4 million times. That's unbelievable. And Bhagwan has granted us a janam not only as a human form, but in satsang. So we should definitely take advantage of that. And I'm going to give it off to Dhruv, who will continue Baksh and who will take it from here.
Thank you, Vraj. So while we think about Paksh, right? So a lot of the satsang and a lot of the topics about satsang are more like you introduce a topic, you understand the topic, and then you have to kind of understand the relationships of it, right? So how can we think of, say, for example, the bhakti, right? The 9 types of bhakti that we have, and how can we kind of think of it in the terms of paksh? I just want to highlight a few things, and maybe in the future when you guys are reading about something else and understand something else, you can highlight and correlate things on your own, right? So let's think about the first one, like shravanam, right? So what does shravanam mean? Shravanam means to listen. What does that mean? To listen to either katha, kirtan, or bhagwanunam, right? It's any of the other. You can listen to it, and that's basically known as a shravanam bhakti, right? But how can we think about paksh in that sense, right? So to be practical, right, in our current world, right, we all are living in the 21st century, right? We all have access to YouTube, right? We can see anything on YouTube, right? With no restrictions, right? So do we normally listen to katha, or do we normally go listen to videos, or what are we doing, right? So to put it in perspective, what I'm trying to say here is that to keep paksh of Maharaj, or to keep increased paksh of Maharaj, or increasing your paksh as you go through your age, is you kind of want to lessen your like watching those video games, or watching other videos on YouTube, or listening to really cool songs by, say, Eminem, you know what I mean, or whoever it is, right? You want to move that kind of bhakti towards the paksh side. And how do you do that? By listening to katha more, or listening to kirtan more. And that's just one example of how shravanam can relate to paksh, right? Another one you can think about is atma nivedanam, right? So atma nivedanam means you are putting your atma means soul, and nivedanam means to surrender. So you're surrendering your atma to whoever it is you're surrendering it to. So in our case, in the 9 types of bhakti, atma nivedanam means we're surrendering ourselves to Bhagwan. We're surrendering our soul to Bhagwan. Now that's a type of paksh, keeping paksh in Maharaj, right? We shouldn't surrender ourselves to Maya, but more Bhagwan. Next slide, please. So another way to think of it is on the flip side of it, right? You want to abandon the vimuks who are going to lead you away from having the paksh of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, right? These are the kind of people who disobey the commandments. They're not going to help you with the panch vishays, or they're not going to support you with the panch vishays. And they really don't have any sincerity to or loyalty towards Maharaj, right? There's a great example of Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das was a Swami during Maharaj's time, and he was there when Ramanand Swami was there. And he was there when Ramanand Swami went to Dham. And what happened is everyone started crying when Ramanand Swami went to Dham, including Maharaj, all the other santos. But Raghunath Das he was not upset. He was smiling and laughing and talking to everyone, right? And that kind of upset everyone. And everyone's just like, wait, why are you smiling and upset, right? What does that show? Underlying, what are we supposed to understand of that person, right? So what Maharaj says is that when a bhakt is put in misery or some sort of issue, right, and is distressed, and another bhakt doesn't understand that, and or is just leading his regular life and not even trying to help him, that's known as a vimuk, because he really doesn't understand that he's not put himself in a paksh position to Maharaj. Do you guys get that? Is it too technical? Yes, no? What do you guys think? Awesome. If you have questions, let me know. We're here. It's an interactive session. Next slide. All right. So what's the repercussions, right? So we want to also understand that what's the bad thing of siding with a vimuk, right? The thing is, if you really think about it, say you have two colleges. One is Harvard and the other one is, just another state college, right? Or even a lower college, whatever it is, right? Now the people that you interact with in Harvard, and you make yourself in a situation where these people are super smart and you interact with them, you constantly are with them, you slowly get their habits. You slowly understand that what are they doing? How are they becoming so clever, so smart? How are they leading successful lives, right? Jevo sang tevo rang, right? At the flip side, the same way, if you're in like some college where the kids are not, they're bunking class, they don't do their homework assignments, and you constantly are with them even though you want to do them, right? You'll come in a scenario where they'll tell you that, hey, you know what, let's go to the amusement park today. Let's skip school and go to the amusement park. I want to go to the rides, right? And you will just be like, hey, I want to go too, well, like, why shouldn't I go? But do you see, like, you become them. So whoever you associate with, you become them. So in this case, what Maharaj is trying to say is that if you associate with vimuks, you are definitely going to become vimuk one day. And there is a practicality to this. What does association mean, right? We're, again, as I mentioned earlier, we're in a practical world. We need to understand that we need to interact with people, we need to talk to people, and we need to see, like, what is happening, what is not happening. So by association, you should understand internally that, hey, what am I doing that is right or wrong? And that's just the generality of vimuks. Next slide, please. So we're gonna have a quick Zoom poll. So a person who sides with the Vimuk becomes a Devta, a Vimuk, praised. How's it looking, guys? Okay, okay. So Vimuk is winning. We got 1 for praised, and we got 6 for Devta. All right. All right. Awesome. We can end the poll here. And let's share the results with everyone. So you guys were listening. This is good news. You guys are not bored. Hands up again. High five, heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So as I mentioned, a person who sides with Vimuk becomes a Vimuk. All right, next slide. So we also want to understand from how Maharaj's Paksh translates to who is the next person we should take Paksh of, or who is Maharaj asking us to take Paksh of at the same time while he asks us to take his Paksh, right? So Maharaj has given us the Agna to take Paksh of his Acharya. Before Maharaj left for Akshardham, he he placed 2 gadis, as you all know. One is Vartal and one is Ahmedabad. And over in that place, he placed Shri Raghuvirji Maharaj in Lakshman Dev Gadi and Shri Ayodhya Prasad Ji Maharaj in Narnan Dev Gadi. And Maharaj is always ever present with his Dharmakul. In his Dharmakul, he's ever present in there. So taking Paksh in that sense of Dharmakul is what we have to do, right? So what Maharaj said in Deshvibhagno Lake, you too who hold the Gadis, who have been appointed as spiritual preceptors, hence all sadhus, brahmacharis, palas, and all our followers shall always remain obedient to your commands and shall serve you, right? Going back to our Swadharma, right? If we're trying to relate things, as I was trying earlier, this is now something that we really have to take paksh of. Else, we're known as Vimuk, right? As I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please.
I have a question, Dhruv Bhagat.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I remember very little from the our summer 2020 Shibir. They explained about Deshvibhagno Lake. Can you just briefly, very like in 1 or 2 sentences, explain what is Deshvibhagno Lake? That would be helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, sure. So Deshvibhagno Lake is a lake that Maharaj wrote on a piece, not a piece of paper, but a piece of metal, because he wanted that lake to stay forever as it's written. And what he wrote in there is that after I leave this body and go to Akshardham, I'm going to place two of my 2 adopted sons as the heads of the Gadi, and I'm going to divide up India as mean Bharat Desh into 2 sides. One will be the lower bottom, which is going to be known as south, and one will be the top. That's going to be the north. And in the north comes 2, Ahmedabad and Bhuj, and in the Dakshin, meaning the southern ones, comes Junagadh, Vartal, Gadra, and Dholera. And I'm going to appoint my Bhagwan's elder brother, his son, who was Raghuvirji Maharaj, no, who was Ayodhya Prasad Ji Maharaj, as the Narnan Dev Gadi. And as in the lower part, I'm going to appoint my Icharamji Maharaj, his younger brother, his son, Raghuvirji Maharaj, as the leader. And what is going to happen in the future generations is that their sons, or as they pass on the lineage, they will be the acharyas and co-jointly run each desh. And that's what Maharaj said. And everyone under this including sadhu, brahmachari, para, and everyone is going to be under the acharyas and follow their whatever they say. Is that good, Ankur Bhai?
Yes, That's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
And just one more thing, like when we talk about Lalji Maharaj, right? Like who is Lalji Maharaj? He's the 9th generation of Sri Raghuvirji Maharaj. So just imagine, like, we are so blessed, right? Next
Of
slide.
Bhagwan.
Yep.
Bhagwan, not Raghuji Maharaj. It's 9th generation of Bhagwan.
Bhagwan. Yes. Zoom poll time. So what document states that we shall stay obedient towards our acharyas? So this is a tricky one, guys. Think about it. I'm seeing a few answers here and there, but let's see. After we're done with the poll, it's going to be a fun discussion to have. So Shikshapatri, Desh Vibhagno Lake, Srimad Srimad Satsangi Jivan, or all of the above. Okay, I feel like most of you have voted. Let's end the poll here. Share result. Awesome. So this was a trick question. Maharaj is mentioned in multiple documents, not just one, but multiple documents. And in this case, documents means shastras or any letterhead or any form of document that has been presented as in our sampradaya, that we shall always stay obedient to our acharyas. Next slide, please. So Paksha of Mandirs, right? So in Bharat Desh, India, we have 6 main mandirs that were built by Maharaj. And while Maharaj did the arti there, is Ahmedabad, that comes under Sri Narayan Dev Gadi. Bhuj, that also comes under Sri Narayan Dev Gadi. And then that's the northern part, as I explained. And then the southern part is Vartal, that comes under Sri Lakshman Dev Gadi, Chunagadh, Dholera, and Gadda, which all come under Sri Narayan Dev Gadi. And then it's one of the 6 pillars, You know how we always talk about the 6 pillars? One of the 6 pillars is having the paksh of your mandir, right? Like if your mandir needs any help, or, seva of any form to the mandir is having paksh, or any, if, like, say, for example, someone wants to come and break the mandir, right? We have to fight. Like, you can't touch these mandirs. These are our mandirs. This is where Maharaj has put himself. Maharaj is residing there, right? Think about it. If you're in your house and someone comes to break it, are you going to just help them? Oh, okay, you can go break it, right? No, it never, right? Same way, mandir should be as important to us as our own house. The murtis were established by Bhagwan, and they were made under the supervision of Nand Santos. Next slide, please. And then, that's India, right? And our parents migrated to the United States. So what are the mandirs that we know in Sri Lakshman Dev Gadi, and what are they, right? So we have 6 of them as of now. One is in Chicago, one is in Scranton, Virginia, New Jersey, Houston, and Wisconsin, right? Thumbs up if any one of you can relate to any of these mandirs. Yeah? No? Yeah? Awesome. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. That's great. I love that. Awesome. Then who are they represented by? Lakshman Dev Vartal Gadi, right? And the Murti Pratishtha was performed by Acharya or Lalji Maharaj. Next slide, please. Awesome. Thank you, Rohan, for that amazing video. For those of you who've been to India, must have seen that. For those of you who've not, there's an intro, Tell your parents, I want to go to India and see the 6 dhams, Same way as we have LNDYM, I just want to stress that the other side, right, in the US is NNDYM too. That's our Maharaj has said no distinction between them. So we can also keep paksh of that mandir, right? I'll now give it to Parth Bhagat, and he's going to give us a rundown of what we learned today.
Hey, Jay Saran, guys. How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone is well, staying safe, staying warm. If you're from the east side and north side of the United States, it's snowing a lot, even here. All right, so what did you guys learn today? Niyam, Nishchay, and Paksh. Niyam, Nishchay, and Paksh are the 3 qualities that will help you become an Ikantik Bhakt. But what else goes with Niyam, Nishtay, and Paksh? Dharma, Bhakti, Jnana, and Vairagya, right? And those were the things that I think what you call it, you guys were teaching, about the niyams, the Nishtay, Niyam, Nishtay, Paksh, as well as Dharma, Bhakti, Jnana, and Vairagya. Dharma, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya is a very big portion, which I think we taught last year in the winter Shibir as well as the summer Shibir. We highly talked about it. And I want you guys to take everything that you guys learned. At least you guys should just take at least one thing you learned today and try to put it to use, right? If we talked about Niyam, and let's just say, I'm just giving an example. Let's say Dhruv said you guys should all just do at least one extra Mara per day. Well, try it. It doesn't hurt, right? And like I said, we're all a family. If you don't know how to do something, or if you want to get involved in LNDYM, or if you want to get involved in Satsang but don't know what to do, we're all one family. We're all here together, like Mohin Uncle said earlier, right? We are all together. We are one team, one dream. I know that's Mohin Uncle's favorite saying: one team, one dream, right? So Niyam, Nishtay, and Paksh, right? So whatever you guys learn from Niyam, Nishtay, and Paksh, keep it to use. Think about it. What did I learn today in Shibir, right? I had a few kids that told me that only thing. What I asked them, like, what did you guys learn? And they said that, oh, we learned that Mohin Uncle was talking about snowballs. I'm like, that's not what you guys learned. What did you guys actually learn? They're like, we should all be one together, right? So what does that mean? We are all one team. We are all one dream. We are all satsangis of who? Swami and Bhagwan, Hare Krishna Maharaj, right? And you guys learn that no matter what, when it comes to Paksh, we should always reside with Maharaj, right? No matter what. Maharaj is Karta Harta. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but Karta Harta means he is the one that does our daily, everything, our daily dues, right? Whatever is going on. So whatever is going on, right? If you guys are breathing, you guys are doing everything daily, right? Everything together is like how they say, Karta Harta. Your daily dues, everything that's your daily activities, okay? So no matter what, even if it's a simple thing like every morning just saying Jai Swamin to your parents, that's more than enough. That's a niyam, right? So guess what? You're following what you learn in Shibir. So niyam, nishtay, and paksh, these are the three things that you guys please try to take advantage of what you guys are learning and put it to use. All right. Thank you guys all for coming today. And I know we're back. We'll have Shibir still going on tomorrow. And if you guys have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to message us. All right. So you guys can message us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever, And for the people that don't know who I am, my name is Parth Tucker and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me, you can ask Rohan, you can ask Dhruv, you can ask any of us. All right. Jai Swaminarayan.
Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you, Bart Bhagat. Before you guys, I let you go for the day. I just want to say first things first is thank you. And I really appreciate you guys turning on your videos. I've seen more videos in this one than the first session. So from my heart, thank you guys. It's just, great to see all Hari Bhaktos faces. Secondly, tomorrow's session is going to be at 10:30 EST. And it's going to be the long-awaited debate. It's going to be super fun. You'll be placed in either for or against group. And you will be able to, really fight it out, like it's WWE. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that. But you guys will be able to, have a good discussion and understand like why and what the topic is. And it's going to be really, really fun. I encourage you guys to join. And if you can bring any other people, it's going to be really awesome. So tomorrow at 10:30 EST, for session 3 of Satsang Orang,